Hello and welcome to week 1 of your 6-week publicity challenge. Now, as I've said in the welcome email, you're either watching this, I'm going to be doing it week by week. You might be joining us some of our lives where we'll kind of work with you to make sure you're scribbling away and you're actually doing it as we're going along. You might be doing it completely on your own, or you might be cramming it all in and doing it all at once. Whichever way you do, it's absolutely fine. I'm Rachel Tappin, and hopefully you do know the host and founder of Media Matchmaker, and I'm here to help you put your PR strategy together so you can literally skyrocket with your PR success and come up with a proper strategy for the next 6 weeks. So whether you are completely new to PR, this is absolutely amazing for you because it gives you all the things that you need to think about that you may have not considered before. Or if you've done PR before, you've got experience of it, it might be that you're looking at this with a specific strategy in mind, whether you're launching a book or whether you want to fill a seminar. You might have something specific in mind that you want to take this approach to, so you can just apply all the principles specifically for that part of your marketing campaign. So I'm just going to screen share with you. So let me screen share with you here. So as we've got welcome here to your 6-week publicity challenge. So this is all about starting with the end in mind. PR is not about ego. It's about helping you achieve something with your business. It is great, it's great from people see you, and it's great from building credibility, but there needs to be an end goal. So have a think about, what is your end goal? What is it you're trying to achieve? Is it something that we know is specific? Is it a big book launch? Is it a seminar? Is it you just want to build credibility? You want to position yourself as the expert, the influencer, so you want to be on that sofa, on the news channels and be, when there's a breaking story. Is that what you want? So write down, what is it you think you want out of the PR? So write that down now. Now, if you haven't already, pause this and download your worksheets. Because you want to be able to scribble as you're going along. This is like a done with you service, so you might as well get the most out of it. These modules are quite small in terms of the length of time, but you might go a lot deeper yourself and write a lot of notes in there. So if you haven't already, print those off. So what's your end in mind? What is it you're trying to achieve out of this 6-week publicity challenge for your PR? It might be for a specific thing, or it might be for the next 6 months. I wouldn't go too far ahead. Let's be specific. Let's be accountable. Now, I also know with these challenges, we all start off and we're all really enthusiastic. And then I know I've got enthusiastic and mocked it. Anyway, so I've just hit the computer. But we all start off really enthusiastic, and then we get to about week 2 and week 3, and it's like, oh God, I haven't done the week before. And, please try and just put a little bit of time aside. As I say, I don't mind if you want to catch up on all of these, however you do it, if you want to join us on the lives or do them week by week, please try and take action with it, because one piece of positive publicity could transform your business overnight. So, please take action with it. So start with the end in mind, what we've just said. What is it you want to achieve with your PR and why? Okay. So what we're going to cover off this module this week, what you're hoping to achieve with PR. Hopefully we've covered that off now, and you've got an idea, you've paused it, you've written it down. We need to now think about who is your audience. So we're going to dive into that and think about who your audience is. Oh, I've got these around the wrong way. But apologies. We need to create your media profile. So we're going to be talking about all the things you need to consider. And there's the worksheet there that you can follow so you can map it all out. So we can create the media profile for you. And then we want to match the media to the audience. So where is it you want your customers to be? Because you might want to be on radio, but what's the point of being on radio if your audience isn't there? You might want to get featured in the Daily Telegraph, but your audience reads The Sun. So we're going to need to match your audience honestly with where you want to be. It might be that you're regional, local, or national, so we'll dive into that. So what we're trying to do is get PR. We're trying to help you get PR success. So what is it you want to achieve? What is the end in mind? Now, there's 2 things you need to consider with PR, and this is where most people kind of go wrong. You want to share your story, and that's where most people go wrong, and then match to the right type of journalists. So today we're going to cover off how you consider getting your audience to the right type of journalists. And then in the next module or next week, we're going to be sharing matching your story and getting it right and how to make the emotional connection. And most people go wrong with a press release because they approach it in the wrong way. They're writing an advert. So next week we'll dive into exactly why you should make that emotional connection. But first and foremost, why PR? Well, it's practically free. It's fun. It's great for credibility, to raise profile, and it can put cash in the bank for your business. So why not? PR is what you should be saying. Now, we know this is a small part of your marketing strategy, or might be a massive part of it, but it should certainly be considered. It's interesting because probably 80% of the corporates, the larger companies, have a PR budget and a PR strategy, and they do that for a reason, because it works. Yet probably about 20% of SMEs and solopreneurs certainly only use PR, and hopefully you're one of them, because 80% don't, because they think they either haven't got the time, or they don't know how to go about it, or they haven't got the budgets. So you're one of the lucky ones, because we're going to show you how you can do this in the minimum amount of time. You're doing it for literally next to nothing, and we can show you how to approach the right type of contacts. So old world, new world, I want to talk to you about this, because there's traditional PR and there's digital PR, and this is why now could not be a better opportunity for you to consider. So traditional PR, we've got obviously the media outlets like radio, TV and print. Those are like your traditional media outlets. We've also then got your magazines, your online blogs, but we've got the digital coming in now with all the influencers and the podcasts, and like we said, the newsletters, the blogs that there are. You may be an influencer in your own right. Now, so when we're talking about PR, you might be completely all digital and online, or you might be more traditional. We're going to cover that off, but it's just exploded, the opportunities. The media has had to change over the years. So even the way that the media consume the news or write the news is now changed. I interviewed a journalist from our regional newspaper not so long ago, and he said to me, you know, we actually react to the news rather than report the news, because we are all our own media channels now, our own news outlets, and the media, actually the traditional media, are far more reactive to what's out there already, and they have to follow those stories rather than being proactive as they used to be. So it couldn't be a greater opportunity. Now the media as well, as you know, I'm sure you've seen yourself, newspapers are in decline. We've got less newspapers. They're not as big as they used to be. And we certainly don't have the regional press that we used to have, but they've had to adapt, and they've adapted in a great way. So a lot of the printed stuff now, that those same media outlets are online, and they're producing more content. The way we consume the news has changed. Everything's in smaller sound bites, in smaller reads. If you now read stuff online, it will show you this is a 3-minute read, this is a 5-minute read. Our attention spans are a lot shorter, which is great news for you, because you can write smaller articles or more in depth. There is still the traditional PR. So if you get the Telegraph or the Times of the weekend, you can still read a really good in-depth article. But if you're in online or a trade, you just want to read a bullet points, you know, you've got to be able to adapt to the media outlets so that you are given the news at the way that your audience want to read it. So to put it into context for you, there's over 95,000 journalists in the UK. That's a lot of journalists. And there's over 44,000 media outlets across TV, radio, print, and then there's a digital, and then there's 768,000 influencers. So that's where the opportunity is. So when we're talking through this week and through the whole of the 6 weeks, really, don't be just confined by thinking you might just want TV, radio. If you do, that's absolutely fine. But it's also cool if you just want to be with the online communities, with the industry trade magazines. It's whatever suits you and your objective for your business, which is what we're going to go on to next. As I say, where most people go wrong with PR is that they don't approach the right type of journalist, or they get their story wrong. I won't cover today about how to get your story right, because that's going to be next week's module or the next one that you watch. But there's two things. It's basically how to get your story and connecting to the right type of journalist. That's what we're going to cover off a little bit today, about matching your audience to the right type of journalists. Because just to give you an example, the Daily Mail or the Telegraph might have 100, 150 journalists working there. So if you're in manufacturing or if you're in beauty, you want to try and approach the journalists that write about manufacturing and beauty. They have specific journalists that write about specific things. The smaller the media outlet, the more generic there will be, the more they'll write about everything. So your regional newspaper might have a business reporter, it might have a property editor, but then it's just, or maybe a lifestyle journalist, but then they'll cover all of the community stories. With something like a national newspaper, you will have a lifestyle editor, you'll have a manufacturing person, technology, you'll have motor, you'll have property. You know, they will write about specific things. So what we want to do today is get you thinking about finding the right journalist for you. So this is why most people use PR agencies. Now, PR agencies do a great job, but also the journalists the media outlets want to connect direct to source. They don't always want to go via a PR agency because news is fast. They want to get to direct to source quickly, and they want new sources all the time and new content all the time. You can do this. It's about shaping the story right, which is what we're going to do on the next one, but also connecting to the right types. So in a bit, we're going to go through building your media profile, then matching it to the media outlets. Then your homework is going to be to actually think about where you want to be and finding those journalists. And then we'll put all the pieces together over the next 6 weeks so that you'll feel so confident that you'll be able to approach them with the right type of story. And we're going to give you loads of kind of ideas on how to create a story, how to approach them, you know, and how to do an introductory email, all that. So let's just do the groundwork first. So this week's a bit boring, I suppose. You may have already done your avatar. You might know a lot of this already, but it's good to just go through again and think, as I say, is this specifically for the next 6 months or is it a specific project? Okay, so let me screen share back with you. Share. Okay, so, in case we haven't known, so just go through. I'm Rachel Taplin, and hopefully we've met because obviously you're part of this program. But the reason why I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story is because obviously I've done PR myself from a business point of view. So when I refer to my stories, it will give you kind of an overview. So I was trying to achieve PR at a time when actually my business was flying high. I'd never known PR before, didn't know how to go about it. So I used a PR agency. They secured me coverage in the Daily Mail and on Good Morning Britain with the lovely Lorraine Kelly. I'll do this story quick because I'm sure you may have heard this already. I ran a business called Mums in Control. So it was a magazine for working mums, and I franchised it across the country. We're printing about 250,000 copies per print run. So it was massive. We were larger than some of the glossy magazines, and I didn't know how to go about PR. As I say, I hired a PR agency, but then sadly we reached the credit crunch in 2008, 2009. Could no longer afford the PR agency, so I had to learn how to do it myself. And I hadn't got a clue how to go about it. I really didn't. And then I literally followed a formula that I'd invested into. And if you're part of the Media Matchmaker Club and you've got access to the online, you'll see how I launched my own national day. Well, I followed a formula for that, and that formula is accessible to you. And from that one press release, I generated over £32,000 for cash to my business and got featured on 70 radio stations in one day. So PR was like, wow. So I used PR at a time when I was flying high with my business, but also equally challenged. So this is where, when I refer to my stories, I'm referring to, I was working mums that I was trying to reach. That was quite generic across all social demographics, actually. So I was business to consumer, but I did do some B2B as well because I wanted to get sponsorship and advertising. So you may be business to business. You might be just looking for clients that are working in business, or you might be looking for consumer too. So that's a little bit about my story. And then as we go through these weeks, you'll see what kind of stories I've got and how you can kind of think about, all right, I could be a case study, or I could share my success story, or not, all those kind of things. So let's get back to, who is your audience? Who are you trying to attract? Who are your customers? So as I say, what is it you're trying to achieve on this, either with one little strategy or overall? Where are they? What do they look like? So let's create your media profile. So you've got your worksheet, start scribbling in this. So what's the age and demographic of the customers that you are looking to attract? So you can either pause this as we've gone through this and scribble it all out, or you can come back to however, whatever works for you. So think about who are your future customers, what's their age, what's their demographic. Now, are you looking from customers from a local, regional or national point of view? It might be you want a bit of both. See, you might just want your customers ideally from a regional viewpoint because you don't want to be traveling all around in different regions, but actually national coverage could be great for you still from a profile point of view, because you can really leverage PR. It's great to say, oh, I was featured in whatever trade magazine, or I was featured on BBC, Radio 2. Even though you only want your regional customers, you can still leverage your PR. But ultimately, it's good to know where are your audience, who is it you're trying to reach, and maybe start with that first baby steps. One thing I will say to you though, it is just the same process to approach the nationals as it is the regionals, because a great story is a great story is a great story. And that's the difference on the next week I'm going to share with you. Once you go through this whole 6-week publicity challenge, hopefully you're getting excited and you click to think, that's where I was going wrong. This is what makes a great story. They want your content. So whether it's a regional newspaper or whether it's a national, they're going to be interested in your story. So where is it you want to be? And are you B2B or B2C or both? As I said, I was predominantly business to consumer because of working mums. There wasn't really any social demographic from me. And when I talk about social demographic, ABC1, so you talk about people that have a high disposable income, or people that working class or middle class, or however they work. I'm not a corporate person, so forgive me if I've got all this wrong, but you do have social demographics. So what's your kind of situation? What's your typical avatar of your customer? How much do they need to earn a lot of money to be able to afford your services? Is it can be anybody that can access your services? So think about, that, and is it B2B or B2C or both? And then we're going to match them to the media outlets. So where is it you think you want to be? And is it aligned to where your customers are? So, you might just say, I want to be in the Huffington Post or in Cosmo, but you might be targeted, if you're in Cosmo, you might be targeting men. Well, that's only going to work if you're trying to get the women to buy something for the men. I know these are basic things, but we really want to drill down and target your PR and what you want to achieve. So these are quick things that you should be able to write down, because you know where you want to get featured. And what sectors do you specialize in, or would you like to work in? So for example, I had one of my members I was talking to last week. She works with senior leaders in the corporates, and she teaches all about emotional intelligence. Wonderful, amazing lady. So she isn't really sector specific. However, she has worked in the aerospace actually. So it might be that she's got a few case studies there. So she could write her stories or certainly comments about how she's helped senior leaders within that sector. But she doesn't want to pinpoint herself into any specific sectors. But you might specifically be in a sector. So you might specialize in manufacturing or specialize in retail. And it's important we understand that, because we'll want to find the journalists that write about your sectors, or we'll want to approach the media outlets that specifically cover stories within your sector. That makes sense. So what sectors would you like to be featured in? Health, manufacturing. So write these down as you're going along. And then what is your area of expertise? What do you want to be known for? There's a whole module that we're going into on how to position yourself as the expert. And we are quite typically British about this, aren't we? PR is about perception is reality, PR. If you say you are an expert in something, people will believe you. Now, I'm not asking you to do anything you're uncomfortable with. I'm not asking you to be someone you're not. If I met you for a coffee or we were on a Zoom and I said, well, tell me about your business, I'm hoping you'll be able to talk about it from the heart. That makes you the expert. You're a great source of information. So, you just need to position yourself to the journalist and put yourself forward as the expert, because the job of the journalist is to interview you. Your job is to be the great source of information. That's why they're contacting you if there's a breaking news story about, I was going to say Brexit there, I'm trying not to say it, about business or manufacturing or whatever it is, if you're an expert in that field, or cybercrime or something like that, they want to speak to you. And it's great if they're looking for new sources. So you know, you can comment on that if that's your level of expertise. So you need to introduce yourself as a journalist, say, I'm available to help for comments if you want me to approach with any of these stories. So what is it you're an expert in? And, you know, feel comfortable, get comfortable in talking about what your expertise are. So what topics then can you comment on which is similar? You know, can you talk on anything that's trending, any news stories that's trending? Now, here's a bit of a tip for you. If you have not done this already, have you set up Google Alerts? A Google Alert to see if anything's in your industry that comes up. You can put a Google Alert on your name or your competitors' names or a keyword to see what's going on. You can set up it in real time. You can have it every day or once a week. But Google Alerts are fantastic, sometimes just to help you think of content or to see what's going on, and then you can report on that news and give it your slant from your professional opinion as the expert. So it's good also to think about PR from a what's trending point of view, because the ways, and we'll cover this off more next week, the way the news reports the stories now, as I said, they're very much more reactive to the breaking stories than proactive. So if you wake up in the morning and you've read the newspaper, or you go to bed and you know the news will be running the next day, and if you're in a region and you want regional customers, you can bet your bottom dollar that the BBC News will be reflecting the national news from a local angle. So if there's any way you can help them, or any of the online newspapers that print also have the online channel, they will want to reflect the news locally, but they want a local regional angle for it. So think about, I'm not going to ask you at the moment how to approach them, I'm just going to ask you to think about what's topical at the moment, what's trending in your industry. So write those down. So hopefully now you've got a real media profile of where you want to be featured. Now this is going to feature across all of these modules, all of these 6 weeks, is your top 10 media hit list, because one piece of positive PR could absolutely transform your business overnight. It really could, you know, and I think you'd be pleased to get one piece of publicity out of this 6-week publicity challenge. And I've seen it happen time after time. People have just, their business have gone through the roof because of it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, let's just start small. Let's start focused, and let's like really get some results out of this 6-week publicity challenge. Who are your top 10 media outlets? Now, I'm going to ask you to think this through now that we've thought about media profile, because we need your top 10 to match the media profile. So, you know, you might have always, as I say, wanted to be in Huffington Post, but are your customers there? Is there a section within your sector? Can you comment on something? And then I want you to start researching them this week. You might only have 5, that's fine, 3, but up to 10, no more than 10 really, of where you want to be featured. And then what I want you to do is start listening to that radio show, or start reading the newspaper, or start going online and start getting a feel for them. Have a look to see, can you see the freelance journalist names or the journalist names? Have a look at the style of the headlines. We'll go into this more in detail in the coming weeks, so that you can see, are they sensationalized? Are they more technical? You know, to start mirroring, do you feel comfortable that that's where you could be featured? Because there's absolutely no point in writing a story if you do not feel your customers are going to be there, or you can't give them the content. You're just wasting your time and everyone else's time. And what we want to do is create impact for you. So as soon as you send that press release or that introductory email to the journalists, we know that they're going to get coverage. So your homework is to create your top 10 media list. And if you haven't already, to go back through the worksheets and write everything out. You might want to do it straight away. You might want to do it quietly. I don't know. It's up to you. But please do take action with it. This is about getting you results over the next 6 weeks. These modules are quite short, but they're specific and they're focused. So PR isn't anything magical. It's just giving you the simple strategies and the simple tools and the guidelines so that you can take action with it. So next week, we're going to be talking about understanding journalists and how journalists work and behave, and how to mirror the journalists, and how to leverage your media coverage, and how to actually find your story. So hopefully you've found that useful. Next week is going to really dive in so we can start, you know, thinking about actual stories for you and finding the right type of journalists. If you've got any questions, feel free to email rachel@mediamatchmaker.co.uk. Please take action with it. Good luck, dive straight in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.